Ant-Man and the Wasp is the latest MCU film and is the 20th film in the MCU. And it stars, of course, Paul Rudd as Ant-Man and Evangeline Lilly as the Wasp. And they team up again this film against this new villain called Ghost. Pretty much the plot in a nutshell. Now, I enjoyed the first Ant-Man very much. This movie was a big surprise for me when I first saw this film in theaters back in 2015, because I'm not really the biggest fan of the character, but this movie definitely made me love the character of Ant-Man. And this, do you guys say that this is one of the most underrated films in the MCU? And Ant-Man and the Wasp is just as amount as fun and just as amount as enjoyment as I did with the first film. Ant-Man and the Wasp is definitely a worthy sequel. It's not one of the highlights in the MCU, but it's a pretty fun, entertaining flick that you could just easily watch on opening night or whatever day you want to watch this film. This is just a fun movie, and I do gotta say that the MCU needs more movies like this and the first Ant-Man, because after the very depressing and somber Avengers Infinity War, we need something a little bit more lighthearted and upbeat. Because after Infinity War, we just left theaters shaking our heads and crying and having our heads down for how depressing that movie was. But now, Ant-Man and the Wasp definitely gets you that hopeful vibe, no pun intended, because the character hope. Because this movie is this is just a fun film. That's the best way you could describe Ant-Man and the Wasp. It's just fun, and I do love like the action scene. The action scenes in this film is very entertaining. Like the actors, the characters in the film, everybody works well with each other. I felt the chemistry between Scott Lang and Hope in this film. Those two have fantastic chemistry. Paul Rudd comes back as Scott Lang in this movie, and I do gotta say that Paul Rudd, he definitely owns the character of Scott Lang slash Ant-Man. He made the character, I will say, his own. I say that about pretty much everybody else who played characters in the MCU, but he does a good job. Even though Paul Rudd is definitely known for his comedy, it definitely fits him playing a character as silly and goofy as Ant-Man. So that's why I feel like he is the perfect choice to play this character. That's why I feel like Paul Rudd definitely owns the character of Ant-Man. And I do gotta say this too, that also add on to the plot, they're also trying to find Hope's mother, Janet, played by Michelle Pfeiffer, aka Catwoman for Batman Returns. And Michelle Pfeiffer, it's good seeing her again in the movie. Haven't seen her in the film in a while, but it's very like good to see like veteran actors coming back in these type of films that we haven't seen in a while. And I gotta tell you guys, just like in the first Ant Man, I don't know how the heck they CGI Michael Douglas fake to make him look 30 years younger. But in this movie, they did the same thing with Michelle Pfeiffer. I'm just like, whoa! I feel like I'm watching Batman Returns again, like to see a very young Michelle Pfeiffer. I know it's CGI, but my goodness, Marvel, Disney, they know how to do it. They know how to do it, and the CGI for like to make them look younger, it's just so unreal. It feels like they just hop in a time machine, get a young Michael Douglas and a young Michelle Pfeiffer, and put them in this movie, and it will be no different. It will be no different. Really, that's how darn good the CGI to make them look 30 years younger was. That it was just amazing. I love the way Marvel did that. And I do love the quantum realm. I feel like this is going to be a very important aspect in the MCU. And this is going to be like a certain thing they're going to bring up and use a lot in future movies. So I'm definitely like digging the quantum realm. And also, like, the action scenes are very fun. They're like a cool chase sequence. I thought that was very entertaining. And this is just a movie that I'll just eating my popcorn. I'll just drinking my soda, eating Sour Patch Kids, because it's the type of movie where you just sit back and relax and not worry about like, oh, who's gonna die or who, like, what theory is gonna go on with this movie. Because like I said, it's not Infinity War, it's not Black Panther, it's not Civil War. This is just like Thor Ragnarok, but take a little bit of step back from that. Not in a bad way, but this is just more family friendly MCU film in the franchise, which that is what I expected. I know a lot of people were expecting this to be like another Infinity War, which if you're thinking about that, if you're expecting this movie to be something more than just fun, then you're not gonna like this movie at all. Like, if you're expecting this movie to be just groundbreaking, amazing, or anything else, that like it's Ant-Man. It's a character who shrinks and grows. Like, what else do you expect from a movie called Ant-Man and the Wasp? And speaking of the Wasp was awesome. I was not expecting to love the Wasp this much. Evangeline Lilly kills it as a character. I liked her in the first Ant-Man. I thought she was a pretty cool character as Hope. But in this movie, whoa, I thought she was amazing. She was definitely a scene stealer. She definitely owns a character. And really, this movie should have been just called The Wasp and Ant-Man. That is what this movie should have been called, The Wasp and Ant-Man. Because this is pretty much The Wasp movie. This is her film. There are even times where I feel like Ant-Man is just in the background in the movie, where there would be scenes where like the Wasp is just all in focus and the scene just focuses on her and her awesome stuff, and she is just a cool character, just as cool as Ant-Man, and she's definitely probably my favorite character in this film. She reminds me a lot of Okoye in Black Panther, where like there would be scenes where T'Challa just in the background, not in the movie at all, and the movie just focuses on Okoye and her awesome fight scenes, just like the Wasp in this movie. And as a matter of fact, this movie should have been called The Wasp and the Ant-Man, because the Wasp is pretty much almost the main character in this movie. I would say, like, Scott Lang is just the protagonist, and Hope Pym is just the protagonist. That can make sense, because this movie is called Ant-Man and Wasp, but let's do the switcheroo this time. Let's call it The Wasp and the Ant-Man. But now I'm just saying random stuff. Okay, anyways, and I do bought into, and I was intrigued with Hope's backstory and the subplot in this film is getting her mother out of the quantum realm, because like I said before, it's going to be something that they're probably going to bring up in future MCU films, maybe Avengers 4, or maybe Captain Marvel, or whatever film they're going to add that in, because that's honestly probably the most interesting thing about this film, the quantum realm, and how certain things work, and how it looks, and it's very intriguing, it's very interesting. I do think that Marvel definitely expanding their world very much, and especially with this film. A movie called Ant-Man, they definitely is going to add a lot of details that they're going to bring up in future movies. That's why I love Marvel so much. You could have like the smallest film, the most smallest scale film, but probably gonna play a big part in the franchise. I don't know why I'm pausing, but it's true. And also Michael Douglas as Hank Pym. Of course, there's no mention to say that he's great, because Michael Douglas I love very much, and I do think that there's never a movie I've seen him in where he just gives off a bad performance. Like, there's not. And of course, Michael Pena, T.I., and the other guy there are back in this movie. And of course, Michael Pena does the storytelling scene like he did in the first film, and it's just as hilarious as it was in the first movie, even though that he did it twice in the first film. But in this movie, it got me dying laughing. I cracked up so hard when he does a storytelling scene, and it's really hilarious, and I just love Michael Pena's character. He is definitely a great addition to the MCU and to Ant-Man. He's just a fun character. I love Luis a lot. Luis is very hilarious. And we also get Lawrence Fishburne in this movie, who got out of the DCEU, and he plays Goliath, and he is just a fun character in this movie. I will say that. I like Lawrence Fishburne a lot in this film. This is just the best way to describe this movie. It's fun. Fun characters, fun scenes, fun action. This movie just fun all around. And I will also like to say my problems with the film. It definitely is a small scale film, which isn't like really like a problem I have with the movie. I'm just something that I want to point out. But I feel like there are some scenes in the film that are very choppy. I'll say that, like some scenes in like the first half, I feel like cuts very abruptly. I'm like, wait a minute, okay, what happened there? Like, there's something that happened in between that scene. Yeah, there are some scenes that I noticed like very, very closely, like it just feels choppy and it feels rushed almost, I'll say. And it definitely like feels like almost like PG almost, because it just doesn't really feel like a PG-13 film, since this movie definitely is more on the lighthearted side. There's some lighthearted Marvel films, but this is like more of the kid friendly. Like, it gives more of a kid friendly vibe, like a Honey and Shrunk the Kids vibe, than a PG-13 film. Because it definitely is more, they place it more on the light side. 'Cause I know Thor Ragnarok, even though that has a similar tone to it, even though that's more, that comedy goes over the top as well as much as in this film, but that was more, that felt more PG-13 than this. And I will say this too, that I was not feeling the villain at all, Ghost or whatever her name was in this film, because there's the MCU has been doing a great job with their villains so far, with Ego and with the Vulture, with Hela, with Killmonger, and Thanos, of course. Can't forget about Thanos, best MCU villain ever. But Ghost is just like her motivation and her character. I didn't really get. I was not even interested at all. It's just the fact that you had to make the character interesting, and you had to make something to sympathize with her to make her a great villain. And they tried a way for you to sympathize with her, but it just didn't work for me. It just was like, okay, why are you evil? I get why, but it's like, okay, it felt like there needed more meat in the potatoes with the villain with Ghost, and the actress, she didn't do a terrible job. She was fine with what she had to do. She wasn't like anything memorable or anything, but she wasn't. She's not a terrible villain at all. She's not terrible, but I just felt like I felt like there should have been like more to her character to make me feel like, okay, this is a great villain. This is an awesome villain. This is a villain I can sympathize with. I can part sides with. But there's another villain, this schemy business guy, who was just a typical snarky, suit and tie businessman who's a complete douchebag. That type of villain, I'm getting sick and tired of, honestly, because I thought we would be over these cliches and with these type of villains, and I feel like we can move past that type snarky businessman and get more of the Killmonger and Thanos villains you can sympathize with, villains that have reason, you'll say, I actually agree with you on that. Like, that is a legitimate reason of why you want to do these things and create human genocide. But with Ghost and with the business guy and with Randall Park's character, not really a villain. He's just a douchebag who has not Hank Pym. Scott Lang is on house arrest and he can't leave his house. He's just a douchebag and he keeps coming back and forth in this film. I'm like, okay, dude, I'm tired of seeing you. Like, I really am. And that's pretty much all the flaws I have with this film. Ant-Man and the Wasp is a fun film, guys. If you're expecting this movie to be another Infinity War or a Black Panther or Civil War or any gigantic scale MCU film, you're not really going to enjoy this movie all that much if you're expecting Infinity War level of greatness, which a movie like Ant-Man, why would you? But other than that, guys, Ant-Man and Wasp was very fun. I probably like it as much as I do as the first one. Probably like even more just for the Wasp and some action scenes. But yeah, guys, go support this movie as much as you did for Avengers, Infinity War, and Black Panther, because Ant-Man and the Wasp is definitely worth your time. I'm gonna give Ant-Man and the Wasp an A minus. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and look forward for my review of Mission Impossible 2 coming very soon, guys. I'll watch that movie. And just thinking about that movie, like, just remember my first time watching it was definite cringe. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and let me know what you think of Ant-Man and the Wasp. If you've seen the film, in the comment section down below. If you like it, if you hate it, if you dislike the film, explain the reason why. Just be honest of why you don't like Ant-Man and the Wasp. Just tell your honest opinion in the comment section down below. Like it, hate it, think it's overrated, whatever. But other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching. And if you're new to my channel and you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.